like to introduce Elsa Lee and Sue Snake, and they are from Senior Persons Living Connected. Elsa is the health promotion team leader, and she's going to present the programs and services offered by Senior Persons Living Connected. And Sue is the director of client services transformation. So they're going to present their active living center program for us. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh yeah, thanks so much for enabling us to be here, Jade and Pastor Nicholas and Ralph. Although I don't think I saw Ralph today. Okay. So here we go. Has anybody ever heard of Senior Persons Living Connected? No. You have? Yeah, we have one person. Wonderful, thank you. And what's interesting is it's like a secret little jewel. It's existed since 1978 at the corner of Finch and Warden. And I have a bit of a personal connection to it. My father-in-law was the Anglican minister at Finch and Warden at St. Paul's Lamourie Church. The church is still there. My partner actually lived on that site from the age of 2. And then between 1969 and 78, they transformed that church and built what we call our Senior Persons Living Connected Center. Think of it as a community center, in addition to some rent-geared to income housing, rental housing above the center. So think about Senior Persons Living Connected as like a seniors community center. Over the years, they've added some healthcare and health sector services there. We're going to talk a little bit about those things today. And so 1978, and here we are. So we've titled this SPLC, our current services, and what is it that we can create together? So let's just dig a little bit into SPLC, our acronym, and Elsa's going to go over our vision and our mission.
Okay, so can you hear me well? Good, thank you. So our vision is to build inclusive communities that embrace all seniors from all walks of life, regardless of social status, economic background, or whatever, to embrace all seniors and then connect each other and make sure that for them to live in the utmost possible way of life. And then our mission is to understand and respond to the aspiration of seniors and the most innovative system and support. So, okay, so that's it.
So why that's important is it says all seniors. And for that to be true, that means that we need to be out in the community because there's all kinds of diversity and variety of seniors. And so it means putting yourself out there, which has been hard to do during COVID. And so it's something about how we engage in the neighborhood. And doing so since 1978, but we are starting to feel that let's move on, figure out how to live our lives with COVID. And so that's part of why we're here with you today. So what's going to happen today? We've already done some introductions. We're going to spend about 20 minutes talking about some of the services that SPLC offers, because you may not be aware there's a whole breadth of services there. So yes, Jane, I am going to talk about seniors active living, but we're going to go back and forth and talk about some of the other things. And then there's this section 3, like what can we create together? So to understand the needs of seniors and respond with innovative supports means we have to ask. I think there's been a long time where perhaps community services have just assumed what people need. So what we want to talk about is how do we create something together with you? What are your needs? We're not going to solve all that today, but what we see it as a way to get started. So we'll be doing that and talking about a particular project that we hope that we can be doing with you called Join the Scene. We'll do that for about 15 minutes, and then our healthy aging tips, which Elsa's going to be doing for another 10 to 15 minutes. And we know that we're standing between you and lunch, so we'll get on with this. So I've already mentioned, we are like a community center. Some people think we're a retirement home. We are not. Some people have said you're a long-term care home. We are not. It's a community center. Think of it from that perspective. I'm not going to read all the services that are up here, but I will point out that there's a lot of services that are for free. And the free comes from funding that we spend a lot of time writing applications for to try and get grants. And some of it comes partially from the city, and some partially comes from the province. So that's how we are funded. We are a non-profit agency. So there's a few of those services here. We're going to get a little bit more into those services right now. All right.
Thank you, Sue. So our services, we can give services in English, Chinese, Cantonese, and Mandarin. We also have Tamil and Greek and Korean speaking staff. But if your language happen to be none of those, then don't worry. We can always connect you with someone who can speak your language. Okay. So next is I'll talk about information referral. Our term here is like it's our central intake, but for your own understanding, let's just call it information referral. So if you think of something that I need help on this, cooking or something like I can't even take more of the responsibilities I used to have. So you can simply call us at that number 416-493-3333 and inquire about our services. We'll help assess your needs, and then we'll refer you to agencies who might have those services if you don't have them. But we make sure that we will meet your needs. Okay? And then next is care management services. So we basically want to assess your needs, and then we also refer you to some agencies who might be able to serve you with whatever you need that we don't have, as already mentioned before. And we also give crisis intervention, and we connect you to your families, because some of our families, they might have the best intention, but they really don't know how to help us. So we can make it happen that we will be like having you and your family have a meeting, and then we will discuss about strategies on how you'll be able to meet what you need. Okay? And then we'll connect you to other government agencies, and then we'll help you navigate the health system. Because I know there's a lot of government services that you don't know of, which you might benefit from. Okay? So if you happen to be, should I call us? Don't worry, just call us. We will be more than willing to entertain you. Next is we have the GAIN. It stands for Geriatric Assessment Intervention Network. So it is composed of a lot of professionals. So we have their nurse practitioner, we have a pharmacist, nutritionist, then we have a behavioral social worker, and we are also working together with the Home Community Care Support Service coordinator. By the way, Home Community Care Support Services used to be CCAC, but now they call themselves HCCSS. Okay, so there's no CCAC anymore. So GAIN is for older adults and seniors who have multiple complex issues. Okay, so like seniors who are high risk for falls, who had a lot of falls occurrence before. And then seniors who are in multiple medications, who have a lot of chronic conditions, okay? And then seniors who really cannot cope up with themselves or who cannot live any more independent life. So if you happen to know any one of your friends or family member, don't hesitate to call us again. It's 416-493-3333, okay? So we'll be more than willing to listen to you and help you cope. Then next is Cancer Support Group. Okay, so it is a support group wherein people meet once a month, and then they share their experiences, they share their challenges, and most of all, they share how they cope with each other. Okay, how they cope with the challenges that they meet with caregiving. So what they do there is that because of the pandemic, they used to meet in person, but because of the pandemic, it is now by Zoom. Then we have the caregiver support services. So for those people who have difficulty already giving care because they also have their own life to take care of. For example, you're taking care of your parents and at the same time you're taking care of your kids. Like you are in a sandwich generation. You don't know which part, you're juggling responsibilities and you have your own health to take care of. So if you are that kind of caregiver where you are really like, burdened and overloaded, so please feel free to call us. We will help you deal with those issues. So, and then we will we'll try our best that you and the loved one you are taking care of will have some time together in participating in meaningful activities where you can both do together, for example, exercises, okay? And then we also connect you to other agencies which you might benefit of the services which you might benefit from. Okay, so that's caregiver support services, and sometimes some caregivers just want to be listened to. Okay, they just want someone to listen to their woes or their challenges. We can do that too. Please feel free to help to call us. And next, health promotion. This is where I am working. That is where I belong. And what we basically do with health promotion is that we assist older adults and seniors to achieve a meaningful life with physically, mentally, socially good life, so that in a way that they will actively participate in activities, okay? And in the process of participating in the activities, they acquire knowledge. And then, in the process of acquiring knowledge, they also connect with each other, make meaningful connections, and most of all, maintain independence as long as possible. We all want that, right? We all want to be independent as long as possible, where we can cook our own dish. We don't have to wait for someone to cook for us. We don't have to wait for someone to go to the store or whatever. Okay, to maintain our independence as long as possible. That is the ultimate goal of health promotion. So we do health workshops, like health talks. We do have like physical activity, healthy eating, and then we also have workshops with giving community services like OAS, or how to apply for housing or senior housing. And we have clinic services like hearing clinic, dementia clinic, Alzheimer clinic. We all have those. We also have support groups which are in Tamil, in Chinese, Cantonese, and Mandarin, and in Korean. And we have this interesting group. They call them SALT, S-A-L-T. It's seniors and law enforcement together. So the seniors are partnering with law enforcement, with police officers, and with SPLC, and they organize activities. They organize workshops related to crime prevention. And they even have walks, neighborhood safety walk. Okay, and they have this pedestrian safety. They all do this certain stuff. And we have this self-management program, which was which was developed by Stanford University, but is now going internationally. So we have, as of now, we have 3 programs. We have the diabetes self-management program. We have chronic disease self-management program and chronic pain. But actually, there's a lot of programs, but we are licensed to do 3. And this is under the HCCSS again, CCAC, but we're doing this under their umbrella. Okay, so it's a 6-week pre-program. They will give you books and all the materials that you need for free. Okay, and it used to be in person, but now in Zoom. And we have it in person. We also offer snacks, but now there's no more in person. So and then we also have a walking group. Then we have nutrition counseling 101. So if you want to have like if you're not sure if you're eating healthy or not, feel free to call us. We'll give you an appointment, 30-minute appointment with a nutritionist. And then we have this fairs. We do fairs, and we also have trips. So volunteer services. Next is, if you want to do something for someone, if you want to be connected and to feel that you have a purpose or you have a mission in life, and you want to learn more, learn new skills, and you want to feel connected by giving whatever you have, like your talent, your time, your treasure, feel free to volunteer. We have a lot of volunteering opportunities at SPLC. So you have Congress there, daytime, a lot of them. Okay, so if you want, so our volunteer, by the way, is youth to seniors. So the youth want their hours, so good. And some of them, even though though they already completed their hours, they still volunteer. So what a heart, right? Yeah. So next is friendly visiting services. This is under the volunteer department actually. So there are 4 types of ways where they can be a friendly visitor. So friendly visitor, this is temporary on hold because of the pandemic, because the volunteer will actually visit the older adult and senior, okay, and talk about interesting topic that interested them both. We have also friendly escort. So the volunteer will assist seniors to go to medical appointment, or go to like their Zumba or whatever class, okay? Then we have friendly shoppers. So friendly shoppers, the volunteer will shop for you. Of course, you will have to pay for your for your groceries. So what they do is that you will list there at least 10 items, and then the volunteer, you will give the money to the volunteer, and the volunteer will shop for you. And of course, the grocery will be the grocery nearest to your place. So you cannot ask the volunteer to go like how many miles away from your place just because that's your favorite grocery. But the volunteer will pick the grocery that is near your place, okay? Then we have telephone reassurance. So the volunteer will call those special isolated senior and just talk to them. Okay, you know how wonderful it is to talk to someone whose interests are also like yours. So when this volunteer, we usually match the volunteer with the seniors. So what are the interests of seniors? And about the language, okay, because you cannot just match a volunteer who doesn't speak the language that the client has, right? So it has to be matching. So next is, okay, so that will be Sue.
Yeah, thank you. So you're also hearing about all the free services, right? There was that list at the beginning, and it had the free and it had the kind of co-pay services. So all these are in the free category. Nutrition awareness, this is where we blend from free to co-pay. Meals on Wheels, anybody heard of that program? Okay, yeah. So SPLC runs a very large Meals on Wheels program, which is exciting and also logistically challenging. So, yeah, did you have a question?
Go to your location to pick up frozen meals and take them home.
Yeah, so we can do pickups of frozen meals. For our Meals on Wheels, the bulk of what we do for Meals on Wheels, we actually deliver hot meals. So not just delivering on site at Finch and Warden, but also delivering in the community as well. Hence the logistically challenging. But always looking for volunteers to be able to help with driving too. And nutrition awareness, I think Elsa already described a little bit, but yeah, Elsa already described it, but we have a nutritionist that works at SPLC, and we're happy to work with folks to help in terms of nutrition awareness and really, what is nutritious? So as my aunt is, she loves peanuts, buys the big jars of peanuts. And so I went with her. We actually were seeing a pre-diabetes specialist, and she said, I love peanuts. I'm surprised she didn't have the jar in her bag. And so, and he looked at her and he said, well, how many peanuts do you have, like, in a day? And she's like, well, you know, I take a handful. And I said, okay, and how many times a day is the handful? And so, you know, 5 or 6. And the response was 8 peanuts. 8 peanuts a day. That's a good number. And I'm thinking, okay, is there probably like 20 in this handful? And she's doing this 5 or 6 times a day, and sometimes you don't know. So it's getting that awareness. Nutrition awareness. So I'm actually going to talk about day programs. This is a copay. It's a $10 for a 3-hour session. We have day programs that are on site at Finch and Warden, 4 different rooms, but we also offer them by Zoom, and we offer them on the phone. What the heck is a day program? Has anybody heard of that? Yeah? Sort of familiar? Okay. So kind of like it sounds, except it's half day. It just seemed weird to call it a half-day program. So we have lots of interaction. We have reduced our numbers so that there's a maximum of 8 clients in each of the 4 rooms. We offer 2 rooms based on language, so people that speak Greek. We also have a room for people that are speaking Mandarin and Cantonese. We also have a room that's specifically focused on clients that have either Alzheimer's or early stage dementia. That's our sunflower room. And then we have the adult day program, which is this amazing mix of people from all walks of life and all abilities. And so those programs are running all through the week. as I said, on-site as well as on Zoom and phone. Transportation services, yes. To be able to do things like deliver meals in the community and help people get to appointments, we do offer transportation services. Also logistically interesting. It's through most of Scarborough, and we have kind of zones set out and different amounts per zone. So it might be $4 within this zone to go one way, and then to come back it would be $8 as an example, and we put all that on our website. Home support, this one's near and dear to my heart. Part of my role at SPLC has actually been to help them transform some of their services. And this one is one of them. We noticed during the pandemic that people really struggled because they were isolated. So we kept this service running during COVID. It's two primary services, personal care, and this might be really hard to see from where you're at. We have personal care on the left side and homemaking on the right. Homemaking, what a strange term. We think about homemaking not as house cleaning. There are many private sector companies that do that, and as a nonprofit, we don't want to compete with them. We come at these services, how do we help keep seniors healthy and safe at home? That's the objective for delivering both of these services. So we've really done a lot of work to redesign them. I won't go through all of them, all the service components are here, but it's about a team member going out to a client senior's home and either delivering personal care or homemaking or a combination of those. So, the Seniors Active Living Center, a really fun acronym called SALC, which is not SALT, which you just talked about. The City of Toronto calls it that, and that's part of where our funding is. The province calls it that, previously known as recreation. Well, there's lots of different things. Every single month we change up our schedule. It's up on our website. There's over 20 different programs. It ranges from line dancing to digital art. I think last month it was watercolors and flowers. Then the month before, I think we had aliens. It was drawing aliens. So there can be lots of different things. We had a science theme. So for 4 weeks, we had different science activities, including the building of volcanoes, which was totally fun. Including some experiments around how crystals grow. There's fitness activities. We have two different Tai Chi programs, and there's also events where we start to learn a little bit more about different cultures. So instead of celebrating September 30th, does anybody remember what September 30th was? Why that was an important day? It was only the second time in Canadian history. Truth and reconciliation, thank you, yeah. So instead of just celebrating September 30th, we actually had a whole series of learning events about what are the various histories of the Indigenous peoples. And actually talking about what happened, why is truth and reconciliation important? So we do quite a lot of that through our SELF program. We have 40% of those programs are free, 60% are paid. Again, it's a copay. Okay, so we just took you really fast through all of our existing services. We wanted to pause because we've done a lot of talking. Any questions about these services? Anything? Anything come to mind? Yes?
Where are you located?
We are at Finch and Warden. So as I said, 1978, Finch and Warden. We are on the
Southwest.
thank you, southwest corner. On that corner, you'll see that there's a bus stop, then there's the cemetery, and behind that, there's the Terrace Tower. It's a life lease building that was built in 1990-ish. And then there's a U-shaped building, and that's Senior Persons Living Connected. We're on the main floor, and then the rental housing is above. Thank you, great question. Other questions? Yes?
What is your definition of senior? What age do you become a senior for your organization?
Awesome question. What is our definition of senior? At what age do you become a senior? So for many of our programs, those start at 55 plus. I'm only 5 years away. Almost there. For some of our programs, it starts at 65 plus. So it kind of depends on the funder. We do spend a lot of time writing to try and get grants so we can continue to function. And so different funders have different age limits that they set. Awesome question. Thank you. Other questions? Yes?
What area do you cover?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, what area do we cover? cover, also great question. Same challenge, different funders have different areas. So the project we're going to talk about today is with the United Way of Greater Toronto Area. And that means that it's not just Scarborough, it's also South Markham, right? Because we're here in South Markham. For some of our services, we have to say really specific. So some of those services will be just Scarborough, whereas some others, like this project I mentioned, we can come into South Markham. It's a challenge because each program has kind of different boundaries, again, depending on who's funding it. Not the best answer for you, I know that. I wish I could go back through each one and tell you, this is what it is. I would look at it this way, our day program, we don't really have a boundary. So to come to day program, that can be anywhere. The challenge becomes the transportation and being able to get there. On the other hand, I have a client and the daughter actually drives her father to day program and they live in Etobicoke. So they've made that commitment and they really want to come, and so they do that. Yeah, Jane?
Do you have lots of parking? Like, if people want to come drive themselves, do you have parking for people?
Yeah, great question. Do we have lots of parking? On site, we do not have lots of parking, but interestingly, on the northwest corner, there's Bridalwood Mall. So we do have an agreement with Bridalwood Mall that we're able to use those spaces temporarily because our site itself, we're very landlocked. So there's not a lot of parking, but literally right across the road, there's parking. Great question. Yes?
Do you have other offices located in the lower part of Toronto?
Do we have other offices located in the lower part of Toronto? The answer is no, and I wish we did. So one of the things that we've got as part of our strategic plan is how do we find some more satellite locations? And so we're hoping that one of the things that we might be able to do with partnering with Ebenezer is maybe we're able to do something here on site, which is not lower Toronto, but South Markham. And we're trying to find other opportunities to do that too. Yeah, great. I love all the questions. Yeah. Do you want to be? You can answer more questions.
I'll give you the floor.
Okay. Any other questions? And feel free if they occur later. You can just ask.
And we can phone in too, right?
You can. I'm wondering if there's any questions on Zoom. I've got to remember that we have folks joining us electronically. Any questions that have come in on Zoom? Okay. Thanks so much. Okay, so we're going to shift gears just a tiny bit here. Okay, so let's actually create something together. We showed you our vision and our mission, and it's been an interesting wake-up call for us because for us to really understand what needs are, we need to ask. If you don't ask, how do you know that you're going to meet the needs? And so when you think about that, and we think about that vision that refers to all seniors, we need to do a better job of asking. So that's the basis of our United Way of Greater Toronto Area project, Join the Sea. I'm going to get into that next. Seniors and caregivers enabling neighborhood empowerment. That is a mouthful. It is, but we really like the acronym too. And we also believe in it. Elsa, do you want to describe a little bit about the project?
Yes. Yeah. So some people would ask me, are you talking of scene from Scotiabank scene card? And no, it's not. It's a more meaningful scene. Okay. So by the word itself, seniors and caregiver enabling neighborhood empowerment. So the goal, basically the goal is to reduce isolation among seniors. Okay, and how we do that is that we try to connect seniors to their communities, okay, to places where they feel be valued in a way that they can also contribute their talents and where they can also ask for help. Okay, so we connect seniors, and in such doing, we increase their well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally. Because being isolated is difficult. So that is the main aim for SEEN. We reduce isolation which has been brought about by several barriers created by poverty. Okay, so that's basically the goal and objective of SEEN. Back to you, Sue.
Yeah, thanks. And so there's a lot of words, but don't worry, I'm not reading them. This is an important point as well. I just mentioned we need to do a better job about asking. One of the things I noticed when I joined SPLC, I had attended St. Paul's Neighborhood Church, Anglican church, my father-in-law, Anglican priest. So even though I grew up in a United Church, I got to know the Anglican side. And what I noticed about that congregation, it's a predominantly Black congregation. Many Black communities represented in that congregation. And yet when I started at SPLC, I wasn't noticing that among our client groups. I thought, why is this? And what I learned over the year is there's this perception that SPLC only supports Asian seniors. That's a false perception. But why did it get like that? What happened? And I think part of our challenge was we actually weren't asking questions. We were not recognizing our own biases, our own blinders on. And so we were really purposeful when we were writing our application to say, we need to do things differently. We need to actually think about the groups of seniors that we haven't been supporting very well and be intentional and ask, what are their needs? And so what you're seeing here on the slide, when we talk about target populations, which sounds so clinical, you're gonna see we need to do a better job at asking Black communities, what do you need? We need to do a more enhanced job, I would say, at being able to ask the Tamil communities, what do you need? We started, but it's so little. And we can build on, for sure, the services that we have been providing for the Korean-speaking community, as well as Mandarin and Cantonese. But what about all the rest? So yes, there's target communities here, but the wake-up call for us was, unless you ask, how do you know? And so that's why we positioned this as, we'd actually like to create something with you. And when we say you, we mean each of you as individuals. We mean you as a congregation. We mean you as a congregation that connects to your wider community. We'd like to do the hard work with you to do that. So I'm not all reading all of this. I'm going to move us along here. What does it look like? Well, here's what it could look like. There could be some group sessions. I also gave many examples of creative things that SPLC has done in the past. Could do those. Could be doing lunch and learn sessions. Yeah. We could be doing events, being safe for COVID while doing events, of course. Neighborhood welcoming, connections in neighborhood, culture burger idea, which is kind of interesting. What's the culture burger idea? Where you actually have a theme and you're trying to learn more about that particular culture, whatever it is. And one of the great ways to do that is to share food. How do you do that safely during COVID? We've been working on that. And so there's a couple of ideas here, senior-friendly tablets, but where we want to go is we want to stop there. We don't want to keep assuming. We can share ideas, but what we're doing, what we want to do is we want to be able to hear your ideas too. What are your needs, and what would make sense for you? So how could it work? This is, again, it's a proposed approach. We'd like to design this with you. So get to know each other, all right? Let me go first on that. You just met me. I've shared a few things. Does anybody remember what I've shared about you as we've been speaking? What have I shared about me as we've been speaking today?
Peanuts.
My aunt and her peanuts, yep. For sure. My father-in-law, yeah. And in the church, I grew up in the United, yeah. Baptist and then United, yeah. What else did I share? I taught aquafit this morning, so my hair's wet. So I taught aquafit downtown. What else about me? One more thing about me. I'm very connected to my community, not just teaching aquafit, but I actually helped to open a homeless shelter in our neighborhood about 10 years ago, despite very fierce resistance from the whole neighborhood about, I would call it NIMBYism. So I have a strong connection to community. So that's a little bit about me in a very public way. Elsa, would you share something about you?
Just a little. So, my name is Elsa, and I know a lot of people love sunny days, but I'm the opposite. I love when it rains. So when it's rainy day, I'm so up and about. I kind of have full energy when it's raining. I don't know why, but that's me. And I'm also very well connected to my church. Okay, so I'm Catholic, but then all my friends here, practically like more than 90% are Baptist. So I go to their church. So you go to where your friends go. So we have our church in Morningside. So our service is actually like 2:30. So I'm going there after here. And then I'm very well connected even to my high school friends. Can you imagine? I graduated several years ago from high school, but I'm still closely connected to all my high school classmates. And we are all scattered all over the world because we have a group chat, and so that group chat is always busy because everyone, some from America, some in Africa, some different continents. So when you see our group chat, someone is still typing there. Whatever time is it? Whatever time, there's always someone typing. So that's me. I'm a person who loves to really get connected. So maybe that's why I'm with SPLC, because it's connection. So that's me. I love to be connected, whether it's church, friends, and even if we're not yet friends, I want to make friends with you. That's me.
Great, Elsa. So where we thought this could go next is we would like to get to know you. So we'd like to do that in whichever way you would like to do that, if you're interested in getting to know us. We thought we could figure out some common goals or visions, like how would we want to work together, right? What works for you as an individual, what works for you as a group? Actually, maybe having a workshop just to brainstorm things. What are your needs? What services would you like to see? What supports do you need? And then figuring out from there, okay, so what's possible? Back to this idea of let's create something together. Okay, so for interest of time, I'm actually not going to read all these. There's a lot on here. These are our commitments that we're making to you. So we brought some hard copies. We'd be happy for you to take those with you. It's our commitments that we really worked and thought about, and we're coming and meeting a group of people that we've never talked with before. And we want to actually start a bit of a journey with you. So these are our commitments and how we will work together. I'll just do our headings here. Trying to be really clear in how we communicate. And knowing that we have to work hard on that. The onus shouldn't be on you to try to understand us. Transparency and openness. We share what we know. And we'll also share what we don't know. And that's okay. Diversity of our team. Well, it's hard to change who you are. We have a pretty diverse team at SPLC, and we know that we don't always represent the populations that we're working with. And so part of that is doing the hard work to figure out what are our biases and how to check those biases at our doors. Common vision, we want to do something that works for all of us. Understanding each person's individual goals, super important. Otherwise, how do you know it's the right service? Effective conflict resolution, not shy away from it, it's going to happen. How do you actually then work with conflict as it happens? Because you might find something really innovative that comes out of it. And then how do you evaluate working together at the end? Or even during? If something's not working right, how do we call that out and just say it? So I'm going to leave you with this question, how would you like to start? We've tried to be at least as open as we can with you about what we'd like to do. You may want to think about that and perhaps connect back with Jane or Pastor Nicholas or Ralph. I don't know how you would like to do it, or just talk with us at the end. We're happy to have that conversation, but we'd like to figure out how we work together next step. Healthy aging tips, what we've all been waiting for.
Oh.
Yes. So, let's go.
Thank you. So, okay. So I'm not going to tell you in detail what is like healthy aging. I know there's a lot of tips there on healthy aging with confidence. But what are the really 3 pillars of healthy aging? Okay, we have 3. So I'll mention one by one. So first is really what we eat. And they always say, what you eat is what you are. Okay, so much of that. So what about nutrition? Okay, do you know what's the size supposed to be of your plate? 12 inches. What's the size of a healthy plate? It's 9 inches. 9 inches only. Okay, so I know your plate is like that at home. You try to measure your plate when you reach home. So, is it 9 inches? If it's not, then you better change it to 9 inches. Okay, so half of it should be vegetables. And your vegetables should be like rainbow colors. The more colorful, the better. Okay? And the other half should be divided into divided with two. The other half of the plate will be divided into another two. So 1/4 of that will be your grains, whole grains. Okay, not white rice or whatever, but whole grain. And then you have the other half should be your lean proteins. Okay, proteins coming from vegetables, so good as well. Now, what is our issues as older adults? What are our issues for health, against healthy eating? Why? When as we age, our senses becomes less. Okay, we have let our sense of taste becomes lesser. So somehow, what used to be very interestingly tasteful before becomes this is bland. Okay, so because there's some changes in our taste buds. And then there's the issue of decreasing appetite as we grow old. And then especially like multiple medications, some medication will decrease our appetite. Some medication may increase our appetite, but some will decrease our appetite because of their aftertaste. And then we also have memory issues. Sometimes we forget, well, I don't forget when I eat, but some people forget that they have eaten or not. Okay? And then we have this lack of resources and cannot cook anymore because of pain here, pain there, the issues with arthritis, so you cannot cook anymore. So those are the issues of older adults to having a healthy diet.
Like it could also be like financially, right?
Yes,
The cost of
financially.
food has just gone way higher.
Yes,
right?
lack of resources.
Yep.
Lack of resources. So what are some of the helpful tips? So if you happen to have your senses decreasing already, so you spice it up, okay? Not with salt, not with so much salt, but herbs, okay? Spice and herbs. And then eat small frequent feedings rather than 3 bulky feedings, like small frequent feedings. And then make sure that you are well hydrated. And if you don't want to drink water because they're low, you can actually put like a slice of lemon. Or some of my office mates, I saw them like putting strawberries in their water or whatever fruit they put in their water. Okay, so you don't have to buy water flavoring. You can actually make your own flavoring, okay, out of fruits. And then if ever because you cannot cook because of pain or you just feel sad, that's where you do the meals on wheels. Okay, you can call us and then we're happily to provide you with healthy options. And of course, if ever you really don't know what are you supposed to eat, especially if you have chronic condition, then you can again call for professional help, dietitian. We also offer that free service. Okay, dietitian is free. You can always call us. So that's with healthy eating. I know there's a lot of if you Google it, you will not sleep because there's a lot of healthy eating tips. Okay, but this one is just the basic, and we just need the basic, right? The simpler, the better. Then physical activity. How active are we? Are we really active, or are we actively just sitting on the couch? Okay. So why should we be active? Because we know the benefits. Yes, we know the benefits, but are we doing it? The benefits, of course, is to increase our well-being. Okay, it will increase our well-being. It helps prevent falls because the older we get, the more prone we get, the more prone we become the more prone we will fall. Okay, a lot of issues. So if you're physically active, your reflexes are good, so you don't fall easily. Okay, I don't say that you will never fall, but you won't fall easily. You will be easy. You will bounce back easily. And then most of all, what is the most important benefit of being physically active? You maintain your independence as long as possible. You don't want to be dependent on someone. You cannot do anything without someone helping you. You don't want that, right? So be physically active. And yet, are we really physically active? So how do we know that we're physically active? So this is the guideline. Okay, the guideline is at least 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous aerobic activity a week. Okay, I don't say a day. Okay, that's too much. 150 minutes a week. So that's up to you how you divide it. Either you say 30 minutes a day, and you don't even have to do 30 minutes one shot. You can have 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes noon, 10 minutes at, okay? So you just have to divide like installment basis, okay? Installment basis, you do it, it's partial. And then you also have to do strengthening exercises. You do resistance exercise, at least do this for your bones and muscles at least twice a week, at least. I'm not saying twice a week only, but at least twice a week. Okay, so the fact is 80% of older adults are actually inactive. That's sad, right? 80%. And then less than 25% are actually in that level where they're doing physical activity that will reap health benefits. So what are the barriers? What are our challenges? And if my friend would call it, what are our excuses? Okay, that's another term. What are your excuses for not being active? Okay, so you have there, for working girls like us, maybe for working people, they will say, we don't have time, no time. But if God will give you 30 hours a day, will you be active? Okay, so that's a question. If there's a will, there's always a way. Then there's also lack of confidence, or there is that lack of knowledge, like, am I doing correctly, or am I doing just enough, or something like, there's no motivation. Why do you want to get healthy? Why do you want to be active? Okay? One motivation I hear from one of my clients would be, she wants to stay active because she wants to walk well when she's on vacation. She wants to go to Greece. But how could she be enjoying that if she cannot walk? So she wants to enjoy her vacation. She wants to stay active. So there's no motivation. Okay, so those are the excuses. Okay, barriers. So what are helpful tips? Be realistic. Be realistic. And start small. I know that the goal is 150 minutes a week. You don't have to start there. You can say like 30 minutes a week. Okay? That's where you are now. Start where you are now. Try to assess yourself. Okay, what's my assessment at this time? At this time, I'm only doing 30 minutes a week. So let's say I will do 30 minutes a week for 1 week. The following week, I will increase another 10 minutes. Because the goal is 150 minutes, but do not start there. Start where you are now. Start small and do increment. Okay? And then, look for motivation. Why do you want to be active? Okay? Always put that in your head. I want to be active because I still want to see my grandson. I want to play with my grandkids. Okay? So what's your motivation in being active? Or you get a buddy. Okay? If you have a buddy system, each one of you will encourage each other. And then, do also something that you like. Okay? Because if you don't like dancing, because you say, I have 2 left feet, okay? Dancing is not the only exercise. You can walk, right? Walking, we just put one foot together, one foot in front of each other, something like that, and then that's already exercising. Or maybe when you are doing your chores, you can also like stretch. If you are stretching your cupboard, stretch. If you are trying to, clean brooming your living room, okay, broom, you try to swim as vigorous as possible, okay? So try to innovate where you move, just do it, okay, just do it. Okay, so do something you like. Do something so that you will sustain. If you go to aerobics but you don't like it, you will not sustain for sure, okay? And one of my friends said, she has to pay her exercise class. She has to go to an exercise class. So she will make sure that she will go. Because if it's free, she will not go. So she goes to an exercise class where she pays. Okay. So now that we have stress management. Now, I'm sure that all of us, young or old, we all have stresses. One thing interesting is what stress out someone may not actually stress out another person, right? So we have different stress levels. So how do we know where we are stressed? We have to recognize the signs and symptoms when we are stressed. So we know what to do. We know that we are stressed. So how do we know that we are stressed? A lot of psychosomatic. You have headache, you're sweating, you're palpitating, or you can actually hear your heartbeat. Some of us, we are stressed, some will Some will have increased appetite, some will also have decreased appetite. Some will not be able to sleep, and some will be falling asleep always. And some will always be irritable, always snapping at someone. And then someone will, feel fatigued at all the times. And some people, if they are stressed, they are prone to accidents because they cannot concentrate. Okay? So, what are the ways to deal with stress? I know we know, but are we doing it? Exercise, deep breathing, talk to someone, or even volunteering. Okay, if you are helping someone, you forget your own issues. And then we also have, you can cry, you can laugh, or you can watch comedy movies or sitcoms, and then practice positive thinking, problem solving, and as Christians we say we pray. Prayer is very powerful. Journaling, pray. Okay, so whatever we are doing, we cope up. We just do not survive, we thrive. Okay, so I think that's it with my healthy eating small tips. Thank you so much, and if you wish to talk to us, feel free.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
all. So we were happy to just connect with you if you've got questions, anything you wanted to go over, we're happy to do that. We can stay for a little bit, but otherwise, thank you for your patience and being part of this today.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll try and get their email addresses and that for you. So if you think of something, or if you have friends that might need help, or people you know that are caregivers of seniors that maybe could do some help, then at least we can try and connect and sort of work together maybe and help some people or that might need some help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.